Hello Channel NITT viewers, this is DS and welcome to another episode on Channel NITT. So today we're going to do another ENTJ MBTI episode. So the ENTJ is one of the most commonly misunderstood MBTI types. One of the reasons is because the ENTJ is really a very rare type and a lot of people do not have real encounters with the ENTJ, so they are imagining the ENTJ based on the stereotypical ENTJ, which is a bossy, demanding, mean person who always like people to follow them. So when you go to Quora, you get a lot of people who are not ENTJ writing on behalf of an ENTJ. So there are people who write that the ENTJ, when he falls in love, would want people to follow them because they are born leaders. I think this is utter rubbish. So we're going to use this episode to clarify some of the things that I've mentioned about the ENTJ, and hopefully this will help you to understand the ENTJ. If you want to know more about the ENTJ in love situations, then watch my previous episode on ENTJ in love. It tells you how the ENTJ is as a lover. Okay, in this episode we are going to make an extension on my previous episode on the ENTJ's FI. I will address the topic of crying and the ENTJ, regardless of whether it's the ENTJ himself crying or another person crying in front of the ENTJ. Well, most of the time, the reactions of an ENTJ is really circumstantial. So while generally an ENTJ doesn't cry, this doesn't mean that the ENTJ doesn't cry in public, that doesn't mean that the ENTJ doesn't cry. First of all, it is true, the ENTJ doesn't really cry in public because this is considered a sign of weakness. In fact, I almost never cry for my own failures because as an ENTJ, I know that failure is okay, I can try again. And most of the time, failures is no big deal, I know I will succeed. If I am angry with myself, I will manage this, but I won't cry about it. However, we are still human beings and we may cry over irreversible events such as the death of a loved one. While we don't cry in public, we may cry in private. And if we do cry in front of you, it means that you are a very important person in our eyes. And we feel very comfortable to let our guard down in your presence. It is also not true that the ENTJ will get angry whenever they see a person cry because they think that this person is going to be a weakling. In general, that might be true, but again, it's circumstantial. So if I have a child cry in front of me, I may be annoyed. It also depends whether the child is crying silently or whether the child is just wailing. In general, I don't like wailing children, but I may be very moved if a child is very strong and trying to swallow the tears, but the tears just come out. I think that's a very powerful show of emotions in a child, and it is a sign of strength. So equally, there may be adults who are crying. Although I generally feel that crying is a sign of weakness for myself, I do not impose that logic on others. Sometimes crying is a sign of courage. Do not expect that the ENTJ is able to console you, but the ENTJ is able to keep quiet. And when the ENTJ keeps quiet and just sits beside you, it's just the way of the ENTJ telling you that he understands and he is there for you. But the ENTJ may not be able to express his sadness or emotions. Look for this kind of signs. The ENTJ cares, just like MediaCorp cares. Well, I hope this very short episode has cleared some misunderstanding that many people have of the ENTJ, and I will be talking about the ENTJ much more in my future episodes. So if you are keen to know an ENTJ, do consider subscribing if you have not subscribed, because I'm a true blue ENTJ and I will give you first-hand information about the ENTJ. Okay, I'll look forward to see you in my next episode. Goodbye!